following is an exclusive presentation of Ravens Productions.
Coming up on this week's edition of Ravens Report, the Ravens return to Baltimore after a huge victory in Pittsburgh. We go all access as Marlon Humphrey and the Ravens beat the Steelers at Heinz Field. We sit down with Ravens kicker Justin Tucker and learn what it takes to make a game-winning field goal. Plus, John Harbaugh previews this week's matchup against the Bengals. All of that and more on this week's Ravens Report.
15-10-5, touchdown Ravens! They are dancing in the aisles. Oh, what a scene we have at M&T.
Ravens on 3, 1, 2, 3.
The Ravens are back on top of the AFC North. Welcome to this week's edition of Ravens Report. From the Under Armour Performance Center, I'm Aaron Hawksworth. After a tough loss to the Browns in Week 4, the Ravens rebounded to grind out a huge win against the Steelers last week in Pittsburgh. So before we turn our attention to this week's AFC North matchup against the Bengals, let's take the trip back to Heinz Field as the Ravens secured a victory against their biggest rival.
Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania for Week 5. And the next chapter about to unfold. We expect a close game every time we come to Pittsburgh, and that means you have to stand up to the noise. You heard about the noise in Arrowhead. Well, it gets loud here as well.
We got to fight for everything you want in life. All right, and it starts on Sunday. Every single Sunday we fight.
Takes the handoff to the left, runs to the right, throws it, intercepted. Josh Bynes with the interception at the 15-yard line. Into the end zone, fires, caught for a touchdown. Hollywood Brown. Snap is good. Kick on the way. It is long enough, and it is good. Justin Tucker with the winner, and the Ravens have won it in Pittsburgh in overtime.
In every circumstance, when the stadium was against us and the song came on and we knew that's what we came for, right? This is why we came. And every single man stepped up, found a way to get the job done doing their job, right? We're a team. No matter what would have happened, no matter what the outcome would have been, we would have been together, right? But we won together. But we won together.
This game is a playoff championship atmosphere. Trust me. No matter what's going on during the year, no matter the record, when this game happens, trust me, they hate you. They hate you, man. Still don't like black and gold. I can't stand that jersey you got on right now.
We hate each other. I mean, I know for sure we hate them. We hate them, and I mean, we respect them as men, but you know, as a team, as an organization, I mean, me personally, I don't really care too much for them.
Let's go win us a game, man. Let's go win a game, man. We haven't put it together yet. We haven't put it together yet.
We have fun by doing things right. Dominating, doing it longer than what they want to do. Let's keep that in our mind, bro. Let's play for each other today. 1, 2, 3, bang.
Let's go, fellas.
We are underway in Week 5. Samuels and the Wildcat. Fakes the handoff to the left, runs to the right, throws it, intercepted. Josh Bynes with the interception at the 15-yard line. The Ravens read the Wildcat perfectly and force the first turnover of the day.
Let's go, man. Let's go, man. Good job.
Jackson hands it to Ingram, straight ahead, pushes the pile. Touchdown Ravens. Mark Ingram in the end zone, and the Ravens extend their lead.
Yes, yes, yes. That's the way it's been. That's been.
They have been extremely aggressive on defense, forcing the Steelers 3 and out on their first possession. And then Josh Bynes with the interception on the Steelers' second possession. That's job 1. Job 2, they have taken the crowd out of the game for the moment.
Beautiful block. That last one, absolutely perfect. You fit it up, you rubbed up my backer. Well done. Good job. Well done. That's damn good blocking.
There go one.
Rodeo double hard.
Pumps once, fires wide open, complete inside the 20. Juju Smith-Schuster breaks a tackle, and he's in for the touchdown. And just like that, the Steelers climb right back in this game. Jackson will throw on third down. Has time, his pass complete to Andrews at the 25-20. Hurdles a man, 15-10. First down, Ravens in the Grillmates red zone. A 25-yard gain. Jackson out of the empty backfield. Pulls down the snap. Looking to the end zone. Fires. Caught for a touchdown. Hollywood Brown. I'm not sure how he gathered that one in a crowd, but Lamar Jackson split a pair of Steeler defenders, and the Ravens extend their lead.
Nice job. Hey, let me tell you something. You know what that play is right there? That's a big boy play. That's a big boy play. And that's why right now, when you play these guys, there's going to be contact every time you catch the ball. You know that. That's why you be strong to it. You know that.
This is getting tense. And as has often been the case in this rivalry, John Harbaugh's team is going to have to be able to dig super deep now. But now you're on the road. The crowd's back into it. You've been on the short side of some calls. Now the job falls to the offense to get back in this game. They have just played Renegade, and it is hopping. Well, this is what you came to hear, and this is what they came to see. A dramatic finish between two arch rivals who both desperately need this win. Jackson throws across the middle, deflected, but caught by Willie Snead, and he's into Pittsburgh territory at the Steeler 44-yard line. Sam Cook with a hold. Kick on the way. It has the distance, and it is good, and we are tied in Pittsburgh.
Yes! Yes!
We are looking at overtime in the rivalry. Hodges in the shotgun on 2nd and 7. He wants to throw. Pocket coming in. His pass is complete and then knocked down. Loose ball at the 40-yard line. Still in play, and the Ravens recover it at the 35-yard line. Coming up with a loose ball is Marlon Humphrey. The play was ruled a reception and a fumble.
You stick it, and then you pick it up. I'm thinking he was going to get it. I wasn't even thinking to go get it, bro.
And with that, fortunes have swung in favor of the Ravens, who take possession at the Pittsburgh 37. Snap is good. Kick on the way. It is long enough, and it is good! Justin Tucker with the winner. And the Ravens have won it in Pittsburgh in overtime. And the Ravens win it today in Pittsburgh, 26-23.
Losing safety Tony Jefferson to injured reserve is a big blow for the Ravens defense. The team will now rely on emerging stars like cornerback Marlon Humphrey and Matthew Judon to help lead the Ravens the rest of the season. Coming up next on Ravens Report, we sit down with Ravens kicker Justin Tucker, fresh off a game-winning kick in Pittsburgh. Welcome back to Ravens Report, presented by MedStar Health. I'm Erin Hawksworth. Nerves, butterflies, terror. Kicker Justin Tucker pretty much has it all when he lines up for a game-winning field goal, but you would never know it. And there is no one else the Ravens flock would rather have on the field to make that kick than Tucker. Tucker has 14 game-winning kicks and just won Special Teams Player of the Week for the 10th time after going 4 for 4 Sunday in Pittsburgh. Justin sat down with Jesse Canuck earlier this week after his perfect day against the Steelers.
Here comes Justin Tucker for what will be a 46-yard field goal attempt to win the game in overtime. Snap is good. Kick on the way. It is long enough, and it is good! Justin Tucker with the winner! And the Ravens have won it in Pittsburgh in overtime.
Justin, thanks for being here. You are the AFC Special Teams Player of the Week. Take us through that moment on the field. When do you start realizing, like, ooh, it's going to come down to me? Are there nerves? Do you get nervous?
Of course. I think you kind of start naturally doing the math about halfway through the third quarter, like way too early. The way we tend to play our division opponents, especially Pittsburgh at Heinz Field, we tend to know that these games are going to come down to the wire. They're going to be close games. So going into any of those kicks, yeah, there's definitely nerves, butterflies, whatever you want to call it. in the smallest moment in time, terror, but it doesn't matter if I feel really good about it or if I'm deathly afraid. Usually it's somewhere in between there, but your feelings don't matter in those moments. All that matters is doing your job, and all 3 of us, all 11 of us out there, the guys protecting as well. And then everything leading up to that, everybody just did their job. And when you do that on the road, that's incredibly important and gives you a chance to win the game.
And you seem so calm, cool, collected on the field to us. So what is the most nervous you've ever been?
You know, I get more nervous after the fact, thinking about the alternatives, you know, like like that could have gone horribly wrong, or man, I'm really glad that we made that kick. After every single game, that's when I get nervous, like truly nervous, thinking about what could have been. But at the end of the day, more often than not, we're coming in the locker room happy, and then it's just about doing it again the next week. You don't have time to dwell on what happened the previous Sunday. You just have to, or even, the previous kick. It's just about moving on to the next one and making the most of that opportunity.
They lifted you up like something straight out of a movie, put you on their shoulders. Like, what does that feel like when the whole team is just like right behind you?
I think it speaks to our togetherness, this brotherhood that we have built here in this locker room and on these practice fields. We have a special group, a group that really cares about each other, a group that knows how hard each and every other one of us works to win football games. To have that celebration on the field with all of my teammates, those are the moments that you live for in sports. You want to be the guy to help your team win, and then you want to share in those moments with your teammates, and it's humbling and incredibly exciting, and something those are the moments that I will forever be grateful.
And your Wolf Pack, how unique is this group? Is it just like that across the league? And most importantly, how did you guys get this name, the Wolf Pack? Who coined it?
I think I inadvertently coined the name, the nickname, the Wolf Pack. I think halfway through my rookie year, a reporter was asking me about Morgan and Sam and myself and our operation, and he's like, "You guys have a nickname, like the Three Amigos or something?" And I was like, "No, we don't have any nicknames. We're not into that." And then I was like, "Actually, you know what? Sure, yeah, we have a nickname. We're a 3-man Wolf Pack. We're all just." I don't know why I thought about that, but it's kind of stuck, and I kind of like it. Like, Wolfpack is way better than like the Three Amigos, so
for sure.
I'll
it's
take
great.
it.
It's very catchy. This Saturday is a really big game. Oklahoma is playing at Texas, and if I counted right, there's 5 against 3 in the locker room for Oklahoma guys and Texas guys. Is there a locker room wager going on?
I think the Oklahoma guys, like the OU guys, are more inclined to make bets because they don't have nearly as much pride in their school as like Earl and Deshaun and I have in Texas.
Little trash talk, I like it.
Well, this isn't trash talk, this is just reality. I mean, can Oklahoma fly its flag the same height as the US flag like Texas can? No. I'll just leave it at that. I feel like that's a mic drop as far as I'm concerned.
Well, thank you. Good luck to the Longhorns Saturday, and best of luck on Sunday, Justin.
Thank you.
Justin Tucker's career field goal percentage of 90.5% ranks first all-time among kickers in NFL history. So it's safe to say Tucker and the Wolfpack have a really good thing going. Hopefully there are a few more game-winning kicks for Justin this season. Coming up next on Ravens Report, Sunday's game against Cincinnati marks the final game of the Ravens' early tour around the AFC North. We preview this week's game with head coach John Harbaugh next. Welcome back to Ravens Report. I'm Erin Hawksworth. The Ravens host the Bengals Sunday at M&T Bank Stadium. This Cincinnati team looked a little bit different than last year's. Guided by first-year head coach Zach Taylor, the Bengals are a young team that'll be hungry for their first win of the season. Earlier this week, head coach John Harbaugh said he expects a knockdown, drag-out game. And let's face it, that seems to be the trend when these two teams get together. In the past 6 meetings, each team has won 3 games. Here's Garrett Downing with head coach John Harbaugh.
Well, Coach, thanks so much for being with us. I want to start with that great win in Pittsburgh. I'm curious, what's going through your mind when Justin Tucker trots out there to attempt a game-winning field goal, open end of Heinz Field in overtime?
Well, I'll tell you, I'm feeling pretty good about it. You know, we have a nice change of events right there. Our guys just kept battling, kept fighting, kept the faith above all. And, you know, ultimately we had an opportunity to kick the game-winning field goal. It started off a little left. I did notice that.
Yeah.
It did catch my attention. And then I went right to the official, and they looked at each other, and they went like that. And that was really all we needed to see.
You know, when Jerry Rosberg was here, he said that Sam Cook might be the best holder in the history of football. Then you got Justin and Morgan and just such a great group, really, the three of them. I think that we as fans often look at it and think 46-yarder, that's routine. But in that stadium and that end of the stadium, it's far from routine. Can you at all kind of peel back the curtain and explain all the work that goes into making sure that when they're in that moment, they hit that kick?
Well, I mean, it's like anything else that you do that's very detailed. There's always more to it than meets the eye. The footing that goes into it, and I think that's why the ball was a little bit left. His foot moved a little bit under the ball. So if any of those other things is off and his foot moves, there's no way that ball's going through. The wind is blowing in that stadium. But Coach Tomlin had a strategy. And basically his strategy was twofold. I think it was to put his defense out there, put our offense out there, and play a field position game because our kickoff team had been doing such a good job. He didn't want to be backed up inside his own 15-yard line. That was smart. And then also which end of the field he was going to kick into and force us to kick into, because if he'd have taken the ball, we'd have certainly put them into that end of the field, tried to pin him back, get a stop, get the kick into the closed end. We wouldn't have wanted the kick into the open end either. So there's a lot of strategy involved at the end of the game.
Yeah, a lot of the things happen kind of behind the scenes, that beneath what meets the eye there. A tough part of the game is injuries. It happens, and it happened to Tony Jefferson on Sunday, something you never like to see. But injuries also create opportunity, and you got Chuck Clark and Sean Elliott, young players who've been chomping at the bit to get in there. What have you seen from them this week as they prepare?
Right, well, you know, our hearts go out to Tony because he's been such a leader for us and such an important part of what we do. And he continues to be, because he's going to be in the meeting, he's going to be here every day. Then those two guys, that's not how they want to get their opportunity, but you never know when the door is going to crack open for you. And now those guys got to barge through and play great football. And I'm very confident they will, because they've been preparing for this opportunity. And when you're prepared for the opportunity when it comes, you'll be successful.
Coach, the Bengals this week, for years, as long as you've been here, it's been Marvin Lewis on the other side. It's different now. It's Zach Taylor. I'm curious, do you look at last year's tape from that team? Do you go and start from scratch, and is it all new assessments and schemes that you're looking at?
Well, schematically you do start from scratch, but we still go back and look at the game because the players are still playing, you know, and the matchups and things like that have to be sorted out. So, yeah, we watch probably more tape than we ever have to, but we watch all the tape. I do think, though, schematically, to your point, it's really a new team, a new season that way.
Excellent. Well, I can't wait to see the guys in action Sunday at M&T Bank Stadium, 1 o'clock. Coach, good luck against the Bengals.
Garrett.
Tickets are still available for Sunday's game against the Bengals. Join John Harbaugh and the Ravens as they look to extend their lead in the AFC North with a victory over Cincinnati. Coming up next on Ravens Report, one of the veteran leaders in the secondary, Anthony Levine Sr., tells us how the Ravens will cope with the loss of Tony Jefferson and the mindset of this young Ravens team as they head into another AFC North matchup. Welcome back to Ravens Report from the Under Armour Performance Center. I'm Erin Hawksworth. Anthony Levine Sr. is a leader on defense and special teams. After the tough loss against the Browns a couple weeks ago, Levine said defensive coordinator Wink Martindale kept it real in the defense meeting room and helped the team focus its attention on last week's game against the Steelers. And they'll look to do the same as the team returns home this week to face the Bengals.
Browns in victory formation. They take the final snap, and that'll do it. This was a game that the offense was unable to finish drives. The defense was unable to stop the Browns. And in the end, the Ravens run out of time after getting beaten by the Browns.
Coming off those two losses and, going to Pittsburgh, we already know what type of game this is going to be. So, Wink come in, and he have his keep it real meeting like we always does, because he always keep it real with us anyway. And it was time for one of those meetings. And he sat up there, and he just kept it real with us. He just let us know, this not the type of football that the Ravens display. It was embarrassment. This not what we stand for, and we're going to fix it. Let's get back to stopping the run. Let's get back to eliminating the big plays. Let's get back to making plays. Let's get back to getting after the quarterback. And that's what we went out there to do.
Samuels in the wildcat. Fakes the handoff to the left, runs to the right, throws it, intercepted. Josh Bynes with the interception at the 15-yard line.
Having Josh come back, it was good. A guy that's a Raven, in and out. He's been here before. He helped us win the Super Bowl. So he's a true Raven. So him coming in, he know the defense already. He know what coaches expect, and he know what this team is all about. So him coming in and getting that interception, it was just coming full circle for us. And having a guy like that, he's a great leader. So, man, it was good having him back.
Tony Jefferson has left the field, unable to put any pressure on his left leg, so that is a very bad sign.
Losing TJ it was hurtful. We lost our leader, we lost our enforcer. That's a guy that motors just keep going. He's a true leader. But this game, we have injuries and then the next guy's up. So having guys like Chuck Clark who know the defense in and out, young guy, Deshaun Elliott, he's gonna be ready. So having those guys here that TJ was teaching and also have Earl. So having those guys back there with a guy like Earl, it ain't gonna be easy for Deshaun and Chuck.
That will do it in Cincinnati as the Bengals hand the Ravens their first loss of the 2018 season.
Playing the Bengals, over the last few years, they kind of been a thorn in our side. And even though they don't have their top receivers, we know it's gonna be a hard-fought game because all AFC North games are. So we just got to go in, man, and have the same mentality of winning as Pittsburgh, stay on track, playing Raven football.
The Bengals' 31st ranked defense is in for a big test this week against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens offense. The Ravens' rushing attack ranks second in the NFL, and Lamar Jackson's 308 rushing yards rank number 1 in the NFL for quarterbacks. Not to mention, Mark Ingram's 6 rushing touchdowns rank second in the NFL. However, Ingram is still looking for his first rushing TD in Baltimore this season. So there's a pretty good chance the flock could see a heavy dose of Jackson, Ingram, and Gus Edwards this week for the Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next week on Ravens Report.